Okay, grade 7. We are studying chapter 10, lesson 1, probability of simple events. As you can see from the book, I told you, please make sure you download the book. It is in Google Classroom. So that's lesson 1. Even though it says chapter 9 over here, it's chapter 10 in this year. It was chapter 9 last year, okay? So this is the book, okay? And you must know this vocabulary. Where is it? Here. So all this vocabulary you should be able to explain by the end of this chapter. Okay? When you finish this chapter, all these words you're supposed to be able to explain. Okay. So let us start in lesson 1. These are the vocabulary you should know. You should know what probability means. You should know what an outcome means. You should know what a simple event means. So when I use these words as I'm explaining, you need to make sure you're understanding. So if you don't understand, you make sure you ask the questions. Okay? Okay, so we begin. Okay? So in words, probability is the chance that some event will occur. So let's say over here, I have 4 different candies. Okay? Let me add another one. I have 5 different candies. What is the probability that I will pick the Kit Kat? Okay? What is the chance I will pick the Kit Kat apart from these ones? What is the chance I'll pick the lollipop and not pick these other 4? So that is what probability is. Okay? An event. The event I am doing here is picking the candy. Okay? That's the activity I am doing. So that is what probability means. Also, probability is a ratio. That means it can be written as a fraction. Remember that. We learned ratios and rates in term 1. Okay? So, as we go on, we will explain more about probability. For now, I want you to know that it is a chance that some event will occur or some activity will happen. Okay? What is the probability the sun will come out tomorrow? What is the probability I will see the moon tonight? What is the probability that tomorrow is a school day? So that is what probability is. How likely an event is going to happen or not happen. Okay? So, probability comes as a simple event. As we go on, you will see other events. So today we are learning about simple events. In simple events, you have one outcome, only one result, or you have a collection of outcomes, more than one result. Okay? What is an outcome? A possible result that you will get when you do a probability experiment. You must conduct an experiment to see what is the probability you will get. There is no guessing. It is not a guess. You need to use numbers. You need to conduct, you must do an experiment like the one you do in the science lab. So in math, we also do experiments, okay? Things you need to know about probability. Probability can be written as a fraction. Remember I said it is a ratio. So a ratio can be written as a fraction. And if it is written as a fraction, you must simplify. If you don't simplify, your answer will not be correct. Okay? It can be written as a decimal to the nearest hundredths. Not tenths, hundredths. Round it to the nearest hundredths. Let me write here. Nearest hundredths. Okay? And then probability can be written as a percent. Probability cannot be negative. Very important. You cannot use a negative number for probability. You also cannot use a number that is greater than 1. probability has to be between from 0 to 1. Okay, let me add that. Probability must be from 0 to 1. You start at 0, you end at 1. You cannot start before 0. You start at 0 and you stop at 1. That's where probability lies. And as you can see in this picture, it starts at 0 and then it ends at 1. Please draw this. I've explained it over here. Use the different colors, because me, I didn't have the colors, but I wrote mine like this. So if you get a probability of 0, that means the event happening is impossible. It means it is impossible for it to happen, okay? If your number is 0.25 or from 0 to 0.25, if your number is in this space, okay, then you will choose unlikely. If your number is from 0 to 50, that means it's in this space. If it is in this space, then you will choose unlikely. Okay? If it is here, it can happen and it can also not happen. That was what if you get 50%. As likely to happen as not. So that means it can happen and it can also not happen. Now, if your probability number is from 50, is between 50% and 1, or is between 1/2 and 1, then it is likely to happen. So if you get a decimal 0.6, 0.6 is between 0.5 and 1, so it is likely to happen. If you get 0.3, 0.3 is between 0 and 0.5, so that means it is unlikely to happen. When you're explaining probability, you must use these words: impossible, unlikely, impossible, unlikely, as likely to happen as not, likely, and certain. Certain means it must happen. That's what certain means. It will definitely happen, okay? Now, there's some vocabulary you should know. Unbiased. Unbiased means you should have equal parts. It should be the same size. Or you should have equal sides. So, if I have a coin, like my dirham is unbiased because I have two equal parts. I have the top and I have the bottom. Now, in a coin, we don't call them top and bottom. We call them heads or tails. So, in a dirham, this is my heads and this is my tails. In other countries, you will see the coin. Why we call it a head? Because there is a head on the coin. You see here, there's a picture of somebody. So this is a head. And then when there is no head, we call it the tails. So different countries have different coins. Majority of the countries, you will see their coins have somebody on the coin in front and numbers or pictures at the back. So where you have a head, that's why you call a head. And where we have numbers and other pictures, we have tails. So it doesn't matter. Just know all coins are unbiased. Most coins, not all. Most coins. If you have a coin with only two sides, then it is unbiased. Because you can have a heads and a tails. Now, when you have a cube has 6 equal faces. So I don't have a cube with me. Let me show you a picture of a cube. But you should know how a cube looks, because you do this in class. Okay, there. These are called dies, and each die is a cube. Okay, so on the cube, we have 6 equal faces. And each face represents a number. So you have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because there's 6 of them. Okay? See? You have 1, 2, wait, 3. You have 4 here. You have 5 and you have 6 there. So that's 6 numbers on a cube. Okay? You should know what even numbers are. You learned this in grade 1 in kindergarten. Even numbers, numbers that end with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay? Or when you divide by 2 and you don't get a decimal. That is what an even number is. You should know what an odd number is. An odd number is a number that ends with 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9. If your number ends with one of these digits, then it is odd. If it ends with one of these digits, then it is even. You should know what is a vowel. A vowel is A, I, E, O, U. That is what vowels are. Okay? You should know what is a consonant. Any other letter that is not A, I, E, O, U. So B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Those are consonants. Okay? These ones that are A, I, E, O, U, you remove them from the alphabet. Whatever letter is remaining is a consonant. Okay? Now, let us finish explaining vocabulary and then we will do some examples. So, what is a complementary event? Two events that cannot both happen at the same time. Like, the sun and the moon cannot be out at the same time. It is impossible until we have an eclipse. That rarely happens, okay? You cannot be in grade 7 and in grade 6 at the same time. Also, you cannot be in a lane and Dubai at the same time. So these are complementary events. Two things that you cannot do simultaneously. So those are complementary. You can't walk and run at the same time. It is impossible. You're either walking or you're running. Okay? All right. So either one or the other must happen. That's what complementary events mean. Okay? Now, I remember saying at the beginning that probability is a ratio. So that means you will write it in terms of a fraction. Your numerator will be the number of favorable outcomes, and here the number of possible outcomes. Okay? So let us see from examples what do I mean by favorable and possible. Okay? Where is the book? And I got that from there. See? Number favorable and number of possible. Okay? Now, I want to do example A. Okay? So, what does the example say? A coin is tossed. Find the probability that the coin landing on heads. Write your answer as a fraction, percent, and decimal. My answer will have 3 parts: percent, fraction, and decimal. Okay? So how do I answer that? I will write probability. So I'm doing A. I'm doing example A. So probability of picking a head. How many parts from a coin? I'm doing it from a coin. A coin has 2 possible. You can get a head or you can get a tail. So I have 2 possible outcomes. How many heads are on a coin? 1. So this is my fraction. How do I know it is simplified? Because there is 1. I have 1 here. Okay? Now I need to do the decimal. When I divide 1/2 by, when I divide 1 by 2, my decimal will be 5/10. So I will write 0. I can write it like that, or I can write it as 0.5. Okay? And then I can do this as a percent. I can either multiply my fraction times 100 or my decimal times 100. So either way, I will get a percent times 100%, or I will do times 100%, and my answer should be 50%. So And there, I have answered example A correctly and completely. Now let us do example B. Now we have a spinner. What is a spinner? You see this when you go to Hilly Fun City, that you play a game, okay? You roll the spinner like that. So this spinner has how many possible outcomes? It has the letters A up to J. So A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because J is the 10th number. So let us do this one. The probability of getting an F from the spinner will be, so probability of picking an F, I will put 10 here. How many Fs? Only one. So that will be 1 out of 10. Did they want a fraction? Yes, fraction, percent, and decimal. See, all your answers should have fraction, percent, and decimal. Then you write here fraction. And it is simplified, so I box my answer. Then I write decimal. So by decimal, because I know how to do my work without a calculator. Anyway, this is 1/10. How do you write 1/10? Just like that. And then percent. So now I need to do percent. It doesn't matter what you do, so I will do with decimal. 100%, I should get 10%. And that's my answer. So there's my 3 answers for B. This is B. Now let us do C. Okay. What's the probability of picking a D or a G? Okay. So this means the probability of picking a D plus the probability of picking a G. Okay. The probability of picking a D is 1 out of 10. And probability of picking a G is also 1 out of 10 because there's only one D and there is only one G. Remember when we learned about adding fractions, we only add the numerators when the denominators are the same. So this is 2 out of 10. I need to simplify this. The common factor is 2. I told you need to practice without the calculator. Okay? So you get 1 out of 5 is your fraction. This is your fraction. Then you do the decimal. The decimal becomes, okay, or 0.2 or 0.2. And then we need to do percent. The percent becomes 0.2 times 100%, which becomes 20%. And there is your answer for C. Now let us do D. We need to do D. So now you see, what's the probability of picking a vowel? I told you you need to know what this means. Probability of picking a vowel. So we know we have 10 possible outcomes. A vowel is A-I-O-U. A-I-E-O-U. So A1, E2, I. Those are the only vowels over here. So I have 3 over 10. So that is, I should have written this first, wait, before I write my numbers. So the probability of picking an A plus the probability of picking an E plus the probability of picking an I. So this is 1 out of 10 plus 1 out of 10 plus 1 out of 10. That gives me 3 out of 10. So there is my fraction. This is my fraction. Now we change this to decimal. That becomes 0.3 as a decimal, or 0.30. Okay. and then we change them to percent. I will do 0.3 times 100%, and I will get 30%. So this is my percent. So you need to know what is a vowel, what is a consonant, like that, okay? Now let us do complementary events. So now we're gonna do E, example E, okay? So the bag contains 5 blue marbles, 8 red marbles, and 7 green marbles. What are my possibles? So first I need to find my total. Add them up. What is my total? 5 plus 8 plus 7. That gives me 20, because this is 15. 15 plus 5 is 20. So I have 20 marbles. So this is the possible outcomes. Possible outcomes. Okay? Now, a marble is selected at random. Find the probability that the marble is not red. Okay? So, how will you do that? So like you see here, find the probability of not rolling a 6. So you will do the probability of a 6 plus not a 6. So the same thing here. You will do probability of red plus probability of not red. Okay? So how many marbles are red? 8 of them. So 8 out of 20. Okay? And then probability that is not red will be 12 out of 20, because I added 5 and 7. There you go. And this will give me 20 over 20. So there I already know probability of getting a red is this, probability of not getting a red is this. And the question wants probability of not red. So this is my answer, 12 over 20. Okay? All right, so the probability of not red will be 12 over 20. You need to simplify that. We divide by who? 4. 4 is the greatest common factor. So you get 3 out of 5 is the fraction. Then you can change it to decimal. And then you can change it to percent. Okay? So there. Now, I want you to do just the guided practice, question 1 to 5. That's all I want you to do. And also do Aleph, and then we'll meet tomorrow, inshallah. Okay? Bye.